Hi, I'm Lynn Wise, and today I'm here with Rodger Baker. We're going to be talking about China's anti-corruption campaign into 2016. Rodger, the Communist Party of China has some really lofty goals for their anti-corruption campaign going into 2016. Can you give us a little bit of background? What are they planning on doing?
So what they're looking to do is nearly finish the investigations into all government organs by the end of this coming year. And that effectively is investigating more entities than they've done total in the past 3 years. So they've got 100 targets set up for this year. And it's going to put some serious strains on their ability to run sort of deep investigations into these areas. But their intent is to complete all of the investigations before the Party Congress in 2017.
Do they have the capacity to do that? The personnel, the logistics?
We've seen them slowly increase the number of inspection teams that they've had over the past few years. They've said they're not going to continue increasing the inspection teams. They do have the ability to work with local level inspection organs. And they also may use some other minor adjustments, shortening the time period between inspections, increasing the number of organs that each inspector has to deal with.
So there have been accusations that the president of China, Xi Jinping, have used these anti-corruption campaigns to target his political rivals, and that's caused problems within the party. How will that play out?
So we do see this as really a twofold campaign. One is weeding out corruption. There's years of endemic corruption, mismanagement built into the Chinese party system, built into the way in which the government and the party interact. And it's necessary to clean that out to be able to deal with some of the economic changes that the country has to go through and move it forward. On the other hand, it's also used as a political tool. It's used to remove rivals, to reshape the political landscape so that Xi has more power. And we've seen him steadily concentrating power under himself rather than working through sort of the consensus-based government we've seen for the last several decades. We're starting to hear reports of increased complaints, increased pushback against this consolidation of power, and therefore also against the anti-corruption campaign as a piece of that consolidation.
Seems like there would be several different groups pushing back, maybe the public against what they see as like a clamping down of free speech and things like that, and also officials who are afraid of being weeded out of the party. For these officials that maybe take desperate measures when they're facing these threats, how will the corruption agencies deal with things like we've even seen reports of like murder or people going missing in these corruption campaigns?
So in the past, during previous rounds of anti-corruption campaigns, there were the occasional incident that was particularly egregious. There was a case back in 2000 where some of the inspectors died in a mysterious fire in a government guest house, and Beijing responded by basically sending about 1,000 investigators down to that area and really cracking down on everything. And so they do have the ability to counter pushback through surges, also to really target specific individuals and try to pull back. But as the campaign draws to its close and they get nearer to decision making on the next generation of leadership, which is really what's going to be emerging at the 2017 Party Congress, these various factions, which are starting to reemerge within the party, are going to have an incentive to preserve their element of power and maybe even start finding ways to undercut some of the concentration of power under Xi Jinping and position themselves more openly for these future leadership roles.
And how will she face public and civil pushback?
So right now, although from the West, the perspective is that the Chinese government is being very repressive in media, is cracking down on human rights campaigners, things of that sort. In China, it doesn't necessarily play the same way. It's been shaped as a response to attempts by the West to intervene in China, to change the Chinese system. It's being seen as part of Chinese nationalism. And so for right now, he still seems to have a fairly strong amount of control, or at least the ability to manage the public impression of what's going on. It's really in the less visible competition within the political spectrum that's probably more significantly challenging for him.
Thank you. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Thank you.
For more on this and other topics, please visit stratfor.com.